Hey everybody, welcome to Wanted to Think from the Shop with me, Mandy, and the other co-host.
My name is Raymond. My world is fire and blood.
Yeah, one of how many lines?
I don't know, like five from the entire movie?
Yeah, but we'll get to that. Anyway, welcome. We're just gonna sort of rapid fire through all of the movie news this week because we want to get talking about Mad Max, which you should definitely go see. So first up, I guess no. Let's start with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson in Shanghai Dawn, just because one of us is in North America and the other is in Hong Kong, so it's fitting, right?
Sure, like I'll see Owen Wilson and you'll see Jackie Chan, because that's how it works. And no one
Yeah,
asked for the sequel.
and let's be honest, you have the worst half of that duo
Okay.
because it's so. You laugh like there's something stuck in your nose because
No. My nose
okay,
is fine, okay? Unlike Owen Wilson.
yeah, all right, yeah. So what do you think?
Uh, I don't give a shit, actually. I watched the first Shanghai movie, like
Mm-hmm.
many years when it came out. It was terrible, and I didn't even know that there was a sequel to that. And now there's a sequel to that sequel, and it makes no sense. I don't know what you people are doing in this movie.
Yeah, and did you hear about those? I mean, there's a lot of fans behind Jackie Chan, but recently there's been a lot of online speculation on like the stuff that he's done in the past. It's only becoming relevant now because of Shanghai Dawn and like the other stuff that he's doing. But have you heard of that?
No, what is it?
Just in general, a lot of Hong Kongers, especially, really don't like Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, 'cause, like that, there's a whole abuse and infidelity thing, and then he's just a shitty person all around.
Oh yeah,
Doesn't really care
I
about
heard
his
about
son.
the infidelity and stuff.
Yeah. I think it's fine to just enjoy Jackie Chan on screen as like who he is as that movie personality, but as a person, he's pretty shitty.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Enough about that stupid movie. Captain America 3.
Yeah, they released millions of set photos. Some of them are cool, some of them are not cool because they ruined some major plot points in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We got the one that's I found most interesting is the costume for Crossbones, who Frank Grillo posted it on Instagram, and he wrote under the picture, "I will find you, all of you." For those that don't remember, Crossbones got burnt nearly to death by the end of Winter Soldier in that building, and he's
Mm.
in the hospital or something. And he's very important in whatever they're adapting for Civil War and in Fallen Sun.
Oh, that's who he is. So he's
Yeah.
Crossbones now.
Yep.
That guy was so annoying the entire like throughout the entire Winter Soldier, and this is assuming that you've seen it already, but um I mean, like, wasn't he just a pain in the ass the entire movie?
I know. What does he have against
And he
Captain
was such a
America?
tool.
He
He was
is.
such a tool. Well, like he's got a tan and everything,
Mm.
and like at the beginning he's loyal enough, and then gradually it's just like it's like that Birdman quote about how it's like this little hammer that just like pokes your balls.
Yeah, a little midget that just keeps smacking your balls with a tiny hammer.
Tiny
Uh,
hammer. Yeah.
yeah.
Uh, okay. Moving on. Star Wars. Daniel Craig is a stormtrooper.
Apparently, according to Simon Pegg, he gave an interview like, "Oh yeah, Donald Craig is playing a stormtrooper." I really shouldn't have said that.
What?
So he's a cameo in this movie. I'm not sure what he's gonna do. He's just gonna show up and say bye.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
that's it.
yeah, sure. Why not?
That's news apparently.
It's kind of like the Wes Anderson thing where he has a bunch of random cameos going on.
Hmm.
I don't think it took much work to get Daniel Craig on board. It's just like, hey, do you want to be a stormtrooper on Star Wars
He's like,
Episode 7?
yes. I'm
When I'm
tired
not
of
James
playing James
Bonding, I want to
Bond.
be stormtroopering.
Nothing's happening on my side with Dragon Tattoo. How about I just film Star Wars on the side and wait for that sequel?
Yeah. And also free catering. Yay.
Yay!
Um, well, it says apparently there's a Steve Jobs trailer coming out.
Yeah, it.
So
When I was watching the Madman finale, it just came on screen, and I was like, I came watching it because it was so
really,
cool. Yep.
okay. The thing is just keep in mind that there has been so many bad renditions of like the whole Steve Jobs thing.
Sure.
So what separates this from the other ones that were complete flops?
Well, first off, it's written by Aaron Sorkin, who wrote The Social Network,
West Wing.
Feel Good Men, lots of cool stuff, and directed by
Mm-hmm.
Danny Boyle, who directed 28 Days Later,
Yeah,
um,
Slumdog Millionaire.
Trance,
Mm-hmm.
Trance, that musical set in India, $1 million something, Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire. Yeah.
Yeah, lots of
Yeah.
cool stuff.
I'm partial to Danny Boyle somewhat.
Hmm.
I think he's like I don't think he's bad enough to like mess it up, but he's pretty on and off for me
Yeah, that's
sometimes.
true. But like whenever he's doing a movie, he's on it, right?
Yeah,
His
that's true.
his camera work is kind of innovative to me. And also David
Yeah.
Fincher was supposed to helm this movie, but he just decided not to because he wants to do something else. And Christian Bale and Leonardo DiCaprio was attached to play Steve Jobs, but in the end they gave it to Michael Fassbender, who looks nothing like
Hmm.
Steve Jobs, but whatever.
Okay. I think that's gonna be interesting just because it's a very non-typical pick.
Yeah,
Also with Aaron Sorkin, so I think he can make something really good out of that.
yeah, he's a good writer.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to Warcraft.
Ooh.
I have
Okay,
no
so
idea what that entails.
I don't know what that is either. Apparently, it's an orc from Warcraft. Um, I would assume that people who play the game would know the picture of this orc guy from Warcraft, the
So
movie
it's a
that's coming
movie
up.
based on Warcraft then.
Yeah, it's
On the
directed
orc
by
from Warcraft.
Duncan Jones, who did Moon and also the son of David Bowie.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm okay with that actually.
yeah, it looks very Warcrafty. I think people will be happy.
Yep. But for now, we don't really care because there's more important things to think about, like Blade Runner 2,
Oh,
Roger Deakins.
yes.
Oh my god!
Holy crap. I might have to go back and watch Blade Runner 1.
You might
Apparently
have to
it's
do it in theaters. To be honest, it's a lot better in the theater.
sure, I'll just wait another 30 years until it plays in the theater near me. But
No, I'm
okay.
I'm pretty sure it plays at TIFF like year round. They have something about like they love Ridley Scott. I'm pretty sure they're still playing Alien and Blade Runner nightly.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
well, you know,
Blade Runner 1, I really didn't like the movie for some reason. I don't know why. It's just so slow, and
maybe it's
maybe
because
because I watched it in DVD quality.
that and also the fact that Harrison Ford is not playing Harrison Ford. So it's like you're set up for disappointment when he doesn't do anything cool.
Well, Harrison Ford is kind of a jerk. And
Yeah.
he's in Blade Runner 2 and is directed by Denis Villeneuve, who did Prisoners, Enemy,
Mm-hmm.
Incendies. All really great
Oh
movies,
my
which you
god.
should totally check out. And he's worked with Roger Deakins before in Sicario, which is making its rounds at Cannes and probably later at TIFF. And
Mm-hmm.
also in Prisoners. Looks absolutely beautiful. I'm excited for this movie.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, before it was kind of like you have the feeling it's going to be really bad just because Harrison Ford is still in it, so you don't know how
Yeah.
they're gonna work off that. But like these are two power people, so I'm sure they know what they're doing,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good with like this pairing.
I hope so.
Yeah. Okay. So next, Transformers cinematic universe involving something about sequels and spin-offs
Okay,
on the lovely
so
bots that you
Okay,
are so
so
well
we
acquainted
all
with.
know that Transformers the movies suck, all right?
Mm-hmm.
All directed by Michael Bay. He wanted to leave after the third one, but the studio brought him in, and now he's doing three more or something. And
Oh.
besides him, he's brought in like screenwriters Akiva Goldsman, who wrote Batman and Robin, who has apparently won an Oscar for some reason. The writer for the Walking Dead comic and also supervisor of the show, which isn't that good at all. And then Iron Man writers. Funny thing about Iron Man, they didn't even have a script to work with.
Yeah, they just let Robert Downey Jr. be him.
Yeah, and also writers from Amazing Spider-Man 2,
Incredible
which is a
Hulk.
terrible movie. What's
And
going
Amazing
on?
Spider-Man 2. Oh no, okay. We're just gonna stop there because there are some things in life that are better if you just don't know about them.
True.
For like, I mean, you can go your entire life without having known this, but sorry, you have that burden now. Hopefully, there's gonna be a lot of like Bud Light product placement going on in these spinoffs. So
Yeah, more Bud Light.
Yep. Okay. TV news. Mindy Project is renewed.
Yay.
With Hulu. So, bullet dodged, I guess.
Yeah.
For Mindy Project fans. David Lynch is going to be working on Twin Peaks again, which is insane because of the whole. I mean, I actually haven't finished the second season of Twin Peaks, but they have that whole stupid, overdone line about how see you in 25 years.
Yeah.
And it's about 25, so.
It is exactly 25, actually, which is the cool part. Yeah.
Well, they're not going to have it done in time for the 25 years, I don't think.
I hope they do. I think they will, actually.
That would be interesting.
They'll be very poetic and whatever. I don't really care for Twin Peaks. I'm sorry.
That'd be like Boyhood, but less interesting.
Sure.
But over a longer span of time.
Yeah.
So Letterman is leaving soon.
He already left. Sorry, guys.
Okay.
So like the finale just aired the other night, and it was okay.
Oh, was that why Conan was redirecting people to Letterman's show?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Wow. So what are we gonna do without those pencils that he throws out?
Well, you'll have Stephen Colbert with the pencils now.
Yeah, there's so many people leaving TV.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's so sad. Whatever.
He's did it for 30 years. I think he's had enough.
Yeah. Oh, they've all had enough. How did you feel about the Mad Men finale?
I hated it.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Was it the second half of the seventh season in general that wasn't good?
Yeah. For the first half of the seventh season, I really, really liked it. It was really wacky and trippy and stuff. And then, the second half is just like, when is this gonna end? Please edit any moment. Like, this is getting boring, ridiculous.
What were the reasons for splitting it up into half seasons?
I believe Matthew Weiner just wanted to tell the story with more time since he didn't have enough episodes to finish his story properly. It's the same thing with Breaking Bad with Vince Gilligan. Yeah. But I don't think it was worth it.
That worked a lot better for Vince on Breaking Bad than it did for Mad Men.
Yeah.
Especially because it doesn't live up to the hype that it built up over the past few months.
Yeah, I've expected something great for the final episode, but it was just people wandering around aimlessly and like stuff that makes no sense logically speaking. And I guess I understand the ending and all, but it just wasn't satisfying. And I was kind of raging out on Twitter about this while it was premiering, and I was like, "Are you kidding me? All this time, and I felt like I wasted my life watching the show."
Is that the general consensus about Mad Men?
There are mixed reviews, but overall, people agree that it's neither the worst or the best episodes, just somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's not the way to end such a good series.
Yeah.
It
is one of the greatest series ever made. Like, objectively speaking, it's going to go down with The Sopranos and Breaking Bad.
But if we're talking production value or in writing.
Yeah, the writing's amazing. Yeah. Except for the second half.
I don't know. Maybe people will boycott it spiritually. And
yeah, it's very spiritual ending. Very spiritual ending.
Oh.
Not really spoilers, but yeah, it's the 70s. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, I'm currently on season 6, and they're getting way into that. So I
Season
mean,
6 is great, by the way.
yeah, I like it so far.
Mm.
I also like season 5, but apparently you thought it was bad.
Yeah.
Oh well. Um, but speaking of TV, now that Mad Men's gone, people can move on to the mediocre and subpar Supergirl, which had a pilot leaked.
It leaked 5 months before it's supposed to premiere, which
Mhm.
sucks for CBS. But at the same time, I don't know. It's the word is spreading out about this leak, and people are watching it, and it may or may not be good. Maybe it's
Yeah,
good, maybe it's not.
you can kind of get a taste of what it's going to be like from the trailer. Oh, surprise! Trailers do that. Um, but I watched the 6-minute trailer, and if you haven't, maybe you should see what you think
Maybe you
about it.
should.
I'm on the edge.
It's the entire pilot anyway.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know why they decided to make that 6 minutes. I really don't. It was like we're gonna force as much exposition and like feminist quips on you as possible.
Just so we know that it's a Supergirl TV show about a
What's the
girl who's
tagline?
it's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's not a man. It's Supergirl. What?
Oh my
Like
god,
we
that's
get
a
it.
train wreck.
Like women
Yeah,
are great, but stop shoving it down our throats.
yeah.
Like
But yeah. No, keep finish your thought. Explain.
feminism, that's great. It's awesome. But stop marketing the show like this. What is wrong? We get the
Yeah,
message.
I think it's pretty despicable of people to market their shows as like feminist shows and have that be the main drawing. Because
Yeah.
what we're going to talk about in maybe 2 minutes or so, Mad Max, wasn't, I mean, it was very subtle feminism, but it really worked well for the show. And it felt genuine as well. It wasn't any of
Yeah.
that contrived, like, oh, look, we're a feminist movie. Um, and like all of our girls are quirky and manic pixie dream girls.
Oh, Kara Zor-El, she's totally a pixie girl. Like, there's no escaping that.
Mm.
And what sucks about what's shown in the trailer is that she's exactly the same as Clark Kent, but Supergirl and Superman in the shows and the movies are completely
They're
different,
completely
which
different,
is
right?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Isn't
why don't
Supergirl? Isn't she supposed to hate humanity? And like
you, well, she
Clark
did
Kent
get
has
like
to.
brainwashed, but like overall, she's here to protect the world. After Superman tells her that you're put here for a purpose, you're my cousin, and as a family we should like team up and save the world. And she's like, all right. But in the
Yeah.
comics, it's like way more construed and sexist and stuff. Like she was made in order to be the opposite of Superman, and she falls in love with him, blah blah blah. And then like a million other Supergirls came and gets retcon and stuff. It's really confusing, and you
Mm.
shouldn't. Superman, and Supergirl in the comics are shitty, but hopefully the show is gonna prove people wrong. Maybe, maybe not.
Yeah, we'll see in a couple months.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something much more exciting than Supergirl. At
Are we gonna
least for
talk about
now.
cars?
Yeah. Not
Car.
only are we going to talk about cars, we're going to talk about car chases.
Oh, sweet. What is this magical thing that you're talking about involving car
It's
chases, Mandy?
it's a world where water is called aqua cola, and there are men who play guitars that are also flamethrowers,
That sounds amazing.
otherwise known as Mad Max Fury Road. And
Woo!
if we could, we'd totally add like this little riff here right now, some power chords. Okay, that sounds nothing like what I wanted, but okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, Mad Max was very good.
Very, very good.
And it will explain why it's very good without spoiling
Yeah, and then we'll
spoiling it.
we'll go into spoilers after, I guess, but the same thing we did with Avengers.
Yep. So
Yeah.
tune in for the non-spoiler for now. Since it's still relatively early, some people might not have seen it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Tom Hardy is right now the quintessential male action hero, to me at least.
Yeah,
And
okay, I can see that.
yeah, he's a brute. Like he's got the facial structure and like the physical features, yes, but also kind of the versatility as well. I mean, as Bane, he really pulled that off. But with this one, he has so little lines, but he does so well without saying anything. And I feel like a lot of male actors currently are being like defined by how they speak, uh, or I mean, I guess their look. But Tom Hardy's doing it.
Yeah, apparently people hated Bane from Dark Knight Rises for the voice. I don't know why. I love that voice.
It might have just been the fact that they couldn't hear anything that he was saying.
Well, he redubbed the
Also,
lines for a reason.
yeah, but I also got like, like with Mad Max, he starts off with this little mask on his face, just strapped there. And for a second, like the entire audience is just fearing that it's going to be the same thing with Dark Knight Rises, where you cannot hear anything he says, if he says anything, the entire movie.
Mm.
Cause but gladly, uh, things happened, and he speaks eventually.
He does. He's like more of a silent type video game character, right?
In this one. Also, I
Yeah.
feel he's a lot more lost. I haven't watched the original Mad Maxes, so I'm only speaking from what I've heard before. Um, but with this current new Mad Max, it's less about this like frenetic guy who's trying to get revenge, and more about a guy who just wants to survive because the world is just as crazy. And they say that right in the beginning monologue. He says, "It's hard to know who's crazier, me or the rest of the world."
I think just by questioning that about the world makes you crazy already. And I'm glad that he's crazy in this movie. Because in the
Yeah.
other Mad Max films, he was never mad at any level. The first one is a simple revenge story. His
Mm-hmm.
best friend gets killed, named Goose, who is actually the mad character in the whole movie. He gets killed by this guy named Toe Cutter, who also appears as the main villain for Fury Road. The same actor, but different character.
Mm-hmm.
He gets killed, and then Mel Gibson's like, okay, I guess I'll retire from the police force. And he retires and goes, hangs out with his family and has ice cream or something. And then his family gets killed, and he finally kind of goes on a revenge and just kind of puts a guy down near a truck, straps his ankle to the truck with a handcuff,
Mm-hmm.
and then he gives him a saw, and he's like, "Here, you have 30 seconds. Bye." He leaves. The truck explodes, and it inspired the Saw franchise. Awesome.
Great.
Yeah,
That's
and
a nice piece
the
of
second
trivia.
one is like less like every movie is completely different from the other. And the Road Warrior, he's just like he doesn't want anything to do with the story, but like he's pulled into the story, kind of like Fury Road. He just helps defend the fort with people
Mm-hmm.
and lots of car destruction mayhem. And the third one is
We're
kind of
not going to talk
shitty,
about
and
the
I
third one.
don't want to talk about that.
Okay, Fury Road is the reboot, and I don't know. I get the feeling that they didn't really look on that backstory because I watched it standalone and I still really enjoyed it. And you kind of
Yeah, I
get a
think it
feel.
was. Yeah, I think it was designed in a way that you can just tune into this movie. It's kind of like an episode of your favorite show, but it just happens to be amazing and high budget.
Yeah, and he's really respect. Like I got a really big Lawrence of Arabia vibe from some of the scenes. Also, it was just like there was so little dialogue a lot of the time, where I don't know. The entire thing just felt like this one big car chase, not in the sense that that's what the plot is, but more like the fact that you're on the edges of your seat the entire time, and it really draws you in, just because it's so kinetic and the cinematography is so good at drawing you in.
Yeah, there was like 400 hours of footage to edit from. I can't even imagine the person who sat down and actually pieced this movie together. That's insane.
Yeah. Some of the scenes were just little. nonsensical to me. But I like that vibe of it because I honestly really didn't know anything that was going on in maybe the first 20, 30 minutes, and gradually assumed that no one else knew what was going on, and that was the point.
Yeah, you're not alone. Like when I watched all three of them, and then I watched this one, I still don't know what's happening, and it's okay.
Yeah, it's like when it first starts out, you don't. I mean, it's vague what this dystopia entails, but like all of these new elements just get thrown out at you, and you're never prepared for whatever comes out.
Hmm.
And it's nice to be like neither does Max. So like it's nice to be on that ride with him. And he acts it really well for someone who has so little lines.
Yeah, but I did have a problem with like the way Tom Hardy speaks in this movie. He doesn't really sound like
Like
maybe
he's
it's just like
Australian.
yeah, he doesn't really pull off a good Australian accent, but that doesn't really matter because he's like everything else besides like his accent is great in this movie.
Hmm. Yeah. Sometimes I think he slips in and out of it because sometimes he does sound like he's Australian, but other times it's almost like Eastern European to me. But I think that's just a small thing that you're just being petulant.
That's
Wait,
a
no,
great word.
what? Petulant. I meant
Petulance.
pedantic.
Petulance. Is that one of the four horsemen of apocalypse?
What?
Never mind. What do you
Okay.
think? What do you think of Charlize Theron?
I think she was really good. Actually, first of all, the way that she acted, but also the way that her character was constructed she wasn't really seen as a victim as much as she was a survivor.
Hmm.
Because usually it's kind of inevitable for women, even if they are badass, they have some kind of thing that they've been, some kind of thing that they had to overcome. Usually they imply rape or like abuse or a troubled home or something like that. But with her, I think they left it vague enough. And they also didn't really dwell on that.
Yeah, they had like this whole thing with like she has a steampunk arm and like
Yeah.
arm missing. That is never explained, and it's great
Yeah,
that
it's
they
not.
didn't. Yeah, it's great they didn't waste time to explain something like that.
They didn't explain a lot of things. Like, I mean, with her backstory, like, the only thing that you really know is the fact that she grew up from some place called the Green Place.
Yeah.
And that's really all that you know of her, and that she's helping these people. But yeah, I think that's why Mad Max and her really connect as characters, and the chemistry between them is great. Because they are both essentially survivors in the story.
Yeah, and it's just like raw power and emotion during this one part where there's like this major slowdown in plot, which I
Mm-hmm.
thought was kind of too slow and was dragging a little bit too much. And
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of worried that is the movie gonna live up in its third act, and it totally does. Like
Yeah.
overall, it's very cohesive and equal and very well paced for the most part. And I wouldn't mind watching this movie again.
Yeah, me neither. It's a trip,
It's a very
quite
dangerous,
literal trip.
yes.
Um, yeah. But there's been some backlash on how something that's advertised as an installment of Mad Max shouldn't be a feminist redoing of the story, which
Mm,
is apparently what some fans got out of it, which is
uh,
that Mad Max is only a side character to Imperator Furiosa, played by Charlize.
uh, but like they did, I don't think they've ever watched the second Mad Max then, because he's the side character. He has 16 lines in the Road Warrior, and it revolves around other people in the story. Like since
Mm-hmm.
ever since the second and third one, it's always about Mad Max the legend. It's not about him as the main character. This is
Yeah,
exactly the same formula. I don't know what they're complaining about.
yeah, and like you can honestly smell the bigotry from these people just from how they word their complaints. this one guy was like, "Oh yeah, this is destroying American culture," which is great because he doesn't even know where Mad Max comes from.
It's Australian. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to point that out. You guys are assholes, and you do not deserve to have entire beautifully designed website based
Mm-hmm.
around like female hating and putting quote unquote putting females in the right place as being like belonging to men and then men belonging to female. Like we don't belong to each other. We're all
Mm-hmm.
just different people, you know? Like
We're just bodies that move and are warm and are made of
we're
meat.
worms. Ew.
Warm. Yeah, it's I don't know. Like I can understand to a certain point why people would be disappointed because it wasn't the big testosterone filled action flick that they wanted it to be. But in truth, it kind of is. It's just not I feel like people are really displacing how they feel about the movie, and what they're really disappointed at is the fact that they didn't get enough Mad Max or
I don't think these.
they
Okay, the
wanted.
people who wrote the article didn't even see the movie. They're writing reasons why they're not going to see the movie based off of the trailer and
Oh,
based off
that's even better.
Charlize Theron just barking orders at Max, which she never did in the
She
trailer.
never does. It's called Teen. Oh my gosh. It's like, yeah, Raymond, can you like light that candle for me? I don't
Sure,
take orders from you.
I take orders from everyone on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't matter. Like as long as I'm working and I know there's a defined leader in the group, they're gonna lead. I don't give a shit. Just like, but their argument just makes no because it never happened because
Look,
she never barked orders.
the ultimate thing is that they're both loners in a sense, but they're loners that know how to work together. And you can see this in a couple powerful scenes. I feel like that's completely fine just to see that because at no point whatsoever in the film do they broadcast women as better than men. And
No, they just
some
make it
people,
clear that women are people in this
yeah,
universe.
like wow. And you like especially with the oh no, I shouldn't do. Have we gotten to our spoiler-free discussion yet?
I
I mean,
guess we
our
should.
spoiler discussion.
It's kind of really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling, but like there isn't even much to spoil in this movie because it's just one
Yeah.
huge chase scene. But I
Well,
guess
I
yeah, let's
guess
go into
for the
spoilers.
people, for the listeners who, I guess to wrap this up, Mad Max is good. The cinematography is excellent for an action film and anything in general. Um, Pacing is quite nice. Acting was excellent. The world that they built was excellent. Yeah.
And also, I really like the music by Junkie XL. There's this
Oh
one
yeah.
part
Yeah.
which we'll get into in the spoiler section, which kind of just hit me really hard, and it was just perfect the way it was made.
Yeah. Also, it's such an absurd thing that they did. Like the world that's been crafted in Fury Road, it's just so nonsensical. Like all these things pop up and you don't really understand it, but it's like you're along for the ride, so it just
Yeah,
slides off the hood, you know. Like
just like no going into this movie that this is actually insane. And
mm-hmm.
if you've
It
seen
is.
Furious 7 recently, you think that movie's insane? That's a cakewalk compared to Fury Road, and this is done way better. Lots of practical effects.
Mm-hmm.
There's some CG moments, but it looks amazing, and the 3D didn't bother me as much. And I
Mm-hmm.
thought the 3D actually really good, and I guess you could
That's a
really
change.
see it. Yeah, it's one of the best 3Ds I've ever seen so far.
Okay. Yeah, but definitely a completely different movie if you see it on DVD or on the computer or pirated. So definitely go see it in theaters in
Yeah,
IMAX
it's
if
yeah, see it in the
possible.
biggest screen possible.
Yeah, you will be amazed.
I'm pretty freaking amazed right now. I want to
Yeah,
see it at this moment, and I hope
me
I see it
too.
again in the next week or so.
If you aren't amazed, you'll just be shocked. And it doesn't matter whether it's a good or bad way. It's just as long as you have that feeling, the movie is doing something right.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so we're
let's go
gonna
into
do
the spoilers.
spoilers. hmm
Okay,
Um,
for anyone who hasn't seen the movie, leave right now and come back after you watch the
leave
movie.
right
Blah
now,
blah blah
or
blah.
you can
Welcome back.
stay. but we don't
No.
recommend.
Okay, if you're weird like that, stay
You're a
for a spoiler
sadist. You
talk.
can stay.
I don't
No,
understand
I'm sorry.
people.
I'm masochist.
I don't understand people who like don't mind spoilers. Like, what's wrong with you? You're wasting the build up and whatever.
Yeah, I don't think dramatic attention is a concept for people like that.
Yeah,
But what can you do?
weirdos.
Just
Okay,
leave.
so spoilers. Welcome
Yeah.
back, everybody.
So I guess we can start with the five brides.
Hmm.
That's personally where I want to start because when you first see them appear in the plot, you sort of think that it's going in the wrong direction as far as feminist rights go, because that entire scene of them bathing and like wearing those drapes for clothing, it just feels vaguely like an advertisement.
It does feel like that. When I saw my friend, and then Max just wanders onto that scene, and he sees like,
Yeah,
"Whoa, woman!" And he
yeah,
started kind of laughing in his seat in the theater, and it's like, "Oh no, what's George Miller doing here?" Like, I hope
yeah.
he pulls it off, and
And
he
then
does.
it's like this point, the way that it was shot with the slow mo and everything.
Yeah,
Um, it's kind of like misleading, but somehow he does manage to bring it back up really
I
well.
think maybe it was like misleading to on purpose, kind of just throw everyone off, and then just
Maybe,
make it
yeah.
seem worthwhile.
Yeah. What do you think about the pacing?
It's the opening shot for this movie is the single-handedly most badass sequence I've ever seen to ever open in a movie, and
Ever, huh?
ever of all time. I'm not even like personally that is insane. Like the way like the sound just amplifies while he stomps on the ground and kills the lizard or
Yeah, and the
whatever.
kills was that's such a cool. I love that shot just because it's one single shot, is it not?
Yeah, it is. And then he just kind of
And then
trails off into his Fury Road, I guess.
yeah, but I love that whole. I mean, like the way that it's shot and everything. It shows him. He goes into his monologue, and then you see the two-headed lizard, and something about
And
that long shot is just so because like he's just standing there the entire time, and you don't really know. You're kind of focusing on what he's saying, and then he just stomps on the lizard and eats it, and that's crazy. It sets the tone for the entire movie.
yeah, the movie really wants to star in a rush, and then he's becomes this blood bag for the war boys.
Yeah.
And the main war boy that we're interested in the movie is played by Nicholas Holt. His name is
Nuts.
Nux. What do you think of him?
Yeah, he was okay. I, I got kind of annoyed because he was. I mean, I know it's there for like the dramatic aspect of the plot, but like he just kept causing trouble for them, and I just wanted Mad Max to like be trouble free because
Yeah,
he
but
wouldn't.
don't you think that it kind of was built up successfully when he sacrificed his lives for these people, driving that
Yeah.
truck off the road, which was all real, by the way, except for the steering wheel. That whole shot was in the
Mm,
sweet spot in front of the camera, and the trucks were colliding, and that was insane.
wow. Okay. Yeah, practical effects. Thanks. Um. Yeah. I like the whole thing with the War Boys. To be honest, 'cause it's just so culty. I almost feel like it's meta in a way, just because Mad Max itself has become such a cult film or cult installment.
Yeah,
Um,
it's
but
you can sense that without exposition. They're just showing like the world, and they're honoring some kind of god, kind of religion. They're treating steering wheels like holy relics,
yeah, and
and
you
like
really don't.
before they die, they spray paint like chrome into the mouth. I'm like, what's up with that?
Yeah, like the silver spray paint, and Nux wants to die shiny and chrome or whatever, and like all of so much of the dialogue is just so nonsensical.
Yeah, I don't
But I
think you
like it.
even need to know English to enjoy this movie, honestly.
You don't, and that's I can't remember who said this specifically, but one of a film analysis people on YouTube or where else said that he once went to Tibet, and there's a movie on the screen, and it was captivating enough and without subtitles for everyone to watch the movie. And that's when you know a movie is good, if it can pass the what he calls the Tibetan test, which is
Okay.
if you have a room bunch of foreign speakers who are watching a movie in like this stingy little place on a really bad TV and it still is a good movie, then that's how you know it's good.
Yeah, like I agree with that 100%. Especially whenever you're seeing like a Charlie Chaplin film or something, you can watch that without understanding the language, and
Yeah.
just it's all physical and showing you the story. It's perfect, and I think this way it's like classic filmmaking in Fury Road.
Yeah, it's actually, I mean, it looks, all of the effects are very, um, there's like this twangy little steampunk futuristic vibe to it.
Mm.
But at the same time, I feel like he's going back and really celebrating old traditions of silent film.
George Miller was really a fan of sitting at drive-throughs, and his stereo wasn't working, so he just watched the
Mhm.
movie on silent and understood it, and he just really understood the form and what he was going for in this movie.
Mm.
What do you think
Yeah.
of that scene at nighttime with the sniper rifle and Max and Furiosa?
Mm, that, I mean, the pacing was only okay there, but I thought it was good because at the same time, you can't really have one movie that's just a nonstop chase throughout. But they managed that timing well. And one of the most discussed scenes of that specific sequence is when Max has his gun pointed at. Do you know who they were called? The
Nope.
villain. Okay.
It's basically a tank with a car on top of it.
Yeah. So, well, there's a tank with people coming to eradicate them, and he misses two of the three shots that he can take, and then Furiosa takes that rifle and sets it on his shoulder, and she saves him. But I love that he's literally cushion for, or like support for her.
And it's cool that Furiosa didn't even have to say anything. Max just kind of accepts the fact that he's not going to make that last shot. And he just hands
Yeah.
over the gun to Furiosa.
Yeah. And that's the best thing is having interaction that just doesn't need all of that filler dialogue, which is also what a couple people were criticizing, the fact that the dialogue was very lackluster.
Hmm.
But I think that like the way that they did it's a very simple story, but the fact that they didn't have dialogue to explain that story and also have it be multi-layered by not explaining it is very good.
Yeah. What do you think of the crazy motorcycle gang near the final act?
Oh, I don't know. I'm impartial. What are
Oh,
your
really?
thoughts?
I thought it was
Yeah,
kind of
okay.
cool. Like, there's this one old woman. They're all really old women, and
Oh, you mean that? Okay, I thought you meant the dudes who got mad at her in the beginning when they
oh
first
yeah,
passed by.
sure.
Oh, you mean the cute little old lady biker gang?
Yeah, and one of the old ladies like, I gotta plant these seeds, and she just gets executed like almost when they're trying to go backwards.
Yeah, those ladies are so cool.
They're so
I want to
badass.
be like that when I grow up, grow
Yeah,
old.
and you want to ride motorcycles all day,
Yeah,
and
just a random tribe of like matriarchs riding motorcycles.
that's awesome. Speaking of motorcycles, I was talking about this one scene in the middle where they're like these bunch of motorcycles and they're just bombing the crap out of their truck. And the music for me at that moment kind of just brought. I know you criticized me for being like a big baby for crying at movies, but I couldn't hold it
Mhm.
back at that point. I was like, this is absolutely perfect.
Not
And
only
then
did you
before,
cry during that scene, you said I couldn't hold it back, and I was leave that to the imagination.
and before the first wife bites the dust and kind of dies and gets quote unquote run over,
Trampled over.
Tom Hardy gives like the most profound and awesome thumbs up and a smile
Yeah.
towards her.
Oh my god. That just came out of nowhere. This entire movie is filled with non sequiturs.
And immediately it's like, here, she's dead. I'm like,
Yeah.
no.
It's like that's the moment. Like he shot her in the leg, but right at that precise moment, they're bonding, and he's giving her like Mad Max is giving her a thumbs up, and then she dies like 2 seconds later
That is messed up,
with her
man.
baby. The pregnant one had to die and get run over. Oh my god, it's the more you think about it, the more disturbing Mad Max is. But I think that's what they wanted, no less.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope that in another 35 years, our world is going to be exactly like Mad Max. And you'll be a motorcycle gang, and I'll be, I don't know,
You can be
Nux or something.
you can be one of those tree people in the Greenland.
Sure.
Those people on stilts who I saw them and I'm like, are those the Ents from Lord of the
Lord of the
Rings?
Rings? What the hell?
No, because like that's I mean I knew it wasn't, but that's just the image that it evoked because no one had any idea what was going on in that scene.
Yeah,
So
that was.
I spent the longest time like, are they high? Because I
Are
kind of
they
feel like
literally
they're
high?
high. Literally high, yeah.
Yeah, speaking of trees, the green place. What do you think
Mm-hmm.
about that plot twists, quote unquote?
Um, very metaphorical.
Yeah, we're dying.
You can
Our
take,
our
yeah.
planet is fucked, man.
No, but just not even that way. Um, Minor spoilers, but Tomorrowland kind of deals with environmental related issues,
Yeah,
and
so I've
it kind
heard.
of shoves it down your throat like this little shaming movie that just
Which we'll
points
talk
fingers the
about.
entire time.
We'll talk
But
about it next week.
yes, we will. Going back to uh, what were we talking about
Mad
Mad
Max,
Max?
the green place.
The Green Place. Yeah, just the fact that it's just a good. This whole thing about having a promised land is false, and you have to carve your own way. You know, like
That's
they were working so hard. This wonderful place with like food and water that they were going towards, and I mean, even the best part was when they realized it didn't exist anymore. They knew they had to go backwards to go forwards. Oh, I'm
oh
waving my hands mystically right here. Symbolism.
yeah, great. I like one of the ladies was like, I thought he wasn't insane anymore when he suggested going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
kind of
like that.
cool that there wasn't actually an oasis like forwards, you know?
Oh yeah, because I mean, you kind of are expecting what that would look like. Now they even leave that to the imagination. Like, there's so much past embedded in like all this backstory that you don't know, just because it's just one long chase scene. But it leaves you wanting more. Just
Yeah,
don't.
and there's gonna be a sequel. I hope. Like, guys, you gotta go out and buy tickets to this movie and support it.
I agree.
Yeah,
Anyway, that's I think that's a good way to end off our weekly podcast.
yeah. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/want anything from the shop, and on Twitter
Mm-hmm.
at want from the shop. Follow
Mm-hmm.
Mandy at
Maddie Sham.
and follow me and follow me at Raymond Thang one. Why is
There
it
will
so
be links
complicated?
and such. I don't know. It's complicated. Like this never changes. We always try to find a way to make this more economical, but it just each
It
time it's
just
just like
doesn't.
it's super convoluted and we don't know how to do this. We're not
And
professionals.
also, Mandy wrote a review for Tomorrowland, which is up on the Screen Hub. The links will be down below. But first, check out my review for Mad Max on the Screen Hub, and then go
And
to
then go
her,
see it.
and then go back
Oh,
to
and
her
and
review.
then go to me. So this is
Yeah,
one of those rare times where I actually read a review before it comes out in theaters in Canada. So
yeah. Lucky
yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, I mean, check out Tomorrowland or don't because I kind of gave it a negative review, but it's worth it for the visuals, in my opinion. We'll talk more about it next week.
Yeah. Wait. Should I see it in 3D though?
I can definitely see the effects, but I don't think it's worth that extra money.
All right. I guess I'll see it in 2D then.
Mm.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
that's been our show.
It's been a pleasure.
Yep.
We will converse in about a week.
Yep.
Until
See you
next
next week,
time.
guys.